Welcome to the Real Lost Boss podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 35 of the Real Lost Boss podcast. Officially the start of season 2. Why? Because as I said in 34, if you have listened or watched that episode, the Real Lost Boss podcast is 12 months old. So every 12 months, I'm just basically going to start what I class as a new season. Nothing's really going to change. I'm just going to discuss lots of different topics. And I'm keeping the episode numbers in line. So hence it being number 35 and not being number 1. But yeah, this is season 2. And in this episode, we're going to discuss weight loss injectables, something that has massively increased in the weight loss game over the last couple of years. So I'm going to go through exactly what they are, how they work, and my overall views on them. Weight loss injectables, or weight loss injections, however you want to call them, first came to my attention towards the end of 2021, and they started spouting up a little bit, or people using them started spouting up on social media, mainly TikTok. And I started following a few people because, you know, my job as a weight loss coach is to understand all the different methods that are out there for weight loss. So I started following a few people that were taking them to learn a little bit more about them. And I like watching people that do certain weight loss methods because you get a glimpse of everyday life or how they affect people in everyday life, if that kind of makes sense, which I think is important to understand. I then actually in 2022 started to work with a couple of clients that were taking them. They were taking the weight loss injections, but they also wanted to work with someone alongside that to help guide them so that they were still, you know, being responsible with what they were eating, improving their overall diet, and, you know, having a bit of accountability. In the last few months, maybe 2024, they've gone crazy. They've gone absolutely mad. And I seem to be getting asked all the time about them, which is why I'm going to cover them in this podcast. And the main reason why they've really blown up in 2024 is because, well, a couple of different reasons. But the main one is they can be bought over the counter. 2-3 years ago, you were only able to get them through prescription, but now you can pretty much go to any pharmacy and purchase them. They've also come down in price quite a bit. Now, like I say, you used to be able to get them prescribed, so obviously they didn't cost people any money or just the cost of a prescription. And they could be bought over the counter if your prescription ended, but they weren't quite as readily available. When I first got to learn about weight loss injectables, they were knocking on £300 a month. Now, that's a lot of money. Now, I don't know exactly what they're costing at the moment, but just from what people have told me and little snippets I've seen, I think they're around about half that. So they're becoming more affordable. I'm not saying £150 a month isn't a lot of money, because for some people it obviously is, but certainly £150 is better than £300. And, you know, as we go on through time, I can see them becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Why have they dropped down in price? Well, because there's a few different brands out there. You know, when I first started looking at the weight loss injectables, everyone was pretty much taking Saxenda. But now there's lots of different, like I say, brands. And different brands means different competition, and competition can drive down prices. I think that's the reason. That's what I'm going with anyway. So, weight loss injections. They have medical names, and there's 2 different types, but they pretty much do the same thing. So we have got, please forgive my pronunciation of these because I'm pretty rubbish at pronunciation anyway, though I can say pronunciation all right. But yeah, the way I pronounce things sometimes, maybe it's just my northern twang. But anyway, semaglutide, which is also known as Ozempic or Wegovy. There are other brand names, but those are the two main ones. So you might have heard of Ozempic and Wegovy, and its medical term is semaglutide. And then you've also got liraglutide. I think I've pronounced that correctly. I have no idea. And the brand names for that is Saxenda, which is one of the original ones that I've seen. And now, which is becoming more popular, which I think is probably the more cost-effective version, Mounjaro, which is what I'm getting asked about all the time when I do things like social media lives. What's your thoughts on Mounjaro? What's your thoughts on weight loss injections? Okay. So how do they work? What are they? Well, first of all, they do not cause direct weight loss. And this is something that is really important for people to understand. In the past, there's been things like fat burners, and a lot of people have bought and taken fat burners thinking that they just burn daft amounts of body fat, and that in turn is going to mean vast amounts of body fat leaving the body. It doesn't work like that, okay? Now, weight loss injections aren't fat burners, but they don't directly cause weight loss stroke fat loss. The only thing that causes us to reduce body fat stores within the body is consuming less calories than we burn, okay? And these weight loss injections have an indirect effect on that. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, but I'm going to go backwards now a little bit and talk about the history and what these weight loss injections are really designed for. And what they're really designed for is to help people that are diabetic, pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, because their main function, I don't want to get too technical with anything, but their main function is to mimic a hormone called glucagon-like peptide 1, short GLP-1. That is their main function, is to mimic that. And what that hormone does, the GLP-1, is it talks to the pancreas and gets it to release insulin to lower blood sugars. Now, if you are diabetic, you struggle to lower your blood sugars because you have developed insulin resistance. And insulin resistance basically means your insulin is not responding the way it should do. So we have a pancreas. When we eat food, any food, but mainly carbohydrates, our blood sugars raise. Okay, and this is just a natural process from the body. I've probably mentioned this previously on podcasts, but I don't want anyone to get wrapped up in the nonsense that is spouted on social media that if we have insulin present in the body, we can't lose body fat. If you are constantly raising your blood sugars, you can't lose body fat. It's all a load of nonsense. But basically, if we eat any food, our blood sugars raise, but they mainly raise quite high if we consume carbohydrates. And different carbohydrates raise blood sugars in different ways, or different heights, as it were. When our blood sugars raise, then the GLP-1 talks to the insulin creator, which is our pancreas, and says, you need to release some insulin. And insulin is then released, and insulin then allows the glucose in our blood to be transported to our cells, mainly our skeletal muscle, our liver, and our brain. If you are insulin resistant, it doesn't work that good. Basically, your insulin doesn't work that good. It doesn't talk to your cells enough to lower blood sugars and take it over into your skeletal muscle, into your liver, into your brain. The knock-on effect of that is your blood sugars stay high in your blood, and that is diabetes. And if your blood sugars stay high in your blood over this is a long period of time, that starts to do a lot of internal damage to the body, which will cause some pretty severe health issues. Okay, so basically these weight loss injectables were diabetic medication, or that is what they're mainly designed for. They're designed to mimic the GLP-1 hormone. So if your GLP-1 hormone isn't working properly because you have insulin resistance, and then you inject something that basically talks properly to your pancreas and says, get this insulin out, it will help lower blood sugars, and in turn, that will help control diabetes. It won't eradicate it, it won't reverse it. You have to reverse diabetes by improving your diet, by reducing the amount of visceral fat you have stored in your body, by doing some exercise and increasing your daily movement. But it will help to keep your blood sugars under control until you reverse your diabetes yourself, your insulin resistance. Now, a side effect of injecting this GLP-1 mimic, as it were, is we started to learn, or not we started to learn, but basically there was a common trend from people injecting this into their body. They were eating less food, they were feeling fuller quicker, and they were having a reduction in cravings for high fatty foods, which are going to be calorie dense. So the knock-on effect of that, suppression of appetite, basically. So not feeling as hungry, getting fuller quicker, and not craving high fatty foods meant a reduction in calories going into the body. And if we reduce calories going into the body, there is a good chance we might go into a calorie deficit and lose body fat. So these weight loss injectables don't cause weight loss. If you are jabbing these in, and they are jabbed, right? They are like EpiPens that are loaded up, and you can put them into your stomach, you can put them into your bottom, you can put them into under your arm. You can inject them in a couple of different places so they go into your body. I think semaglutide, which is Ozempic and Wegovy, you can also get it as an oral medication. But mainly they are sold as injectables. And yeah, they don't cause direct weight loss. Nothing does. Like I say, the only thing that causes us to reduce body fat in our body is consuming less calories than we burn over a period of time. So they have an indirect effect. And I think this is something that is really, really important for people to understand, because you might go to Boots or Superdrug, any pharmacy, order this weight loss injectable, as it were, and you start jabbing it into your body and you're not seeing any results. And the reason you're not seeing any results is because you're not in a calorie deficit, because you still have to change things alongside it. You have to. You have to improve your overall diet. You should still be doing some exercise alongside it. And then that is probably going to really help you go into a calorie deficit. So if you're just sat there now, jabbing these things into your stomach and nothing else is changing, you're still consuming the same amount of food, you're still doing the same amount of movement, they ain't going to do a jot for your current weight situation. So you go to a pharmacy, you order these injectables, you start jabbing them into your body, and they start suppressing your appetite. So you start not feeling as hungry, getting fuller quicker when you start to eat, stop craving as many high fatty foods, because fatty foods are actually the only foods that are shown to be quite addictive or to have some addictive properties. A lot of people blame sugar. So a lot of people always talk about it's sugar, it's sugar, it's sugar, I've got a sugar addiction. There's actually no major addictive properties of sugar, but there are some of fat. And if you think now about foods that you overconsume, the contributing macronutrient in that food will be fat, or the trend will be fat, not sugar. Because you might be say you're addicted to chocolate and you might blame sugar because of that. It's not. Chocolate is very high in fat. Same with biscuits, same with cake, same with takeaways, Chinese, fish and chips, McDonald's, KFC, pizza. One common trend, all of those high fat. So obviously, if we are taking these injectables and it is reducing that, because high fat foods are high calorie foods, getting fuller quicker, and suppressing our appetite. How does it do that? Well, it just basically, the hormone just talks to the brain, because the brain pretty much controls everything. So when you take this injectable in, it is basically talking to your brain going, this person doesn't need as much food. When they start eating, they don't need to finish their plate. And like I say, it will reduce those cravings. And do you know what? In all honesty, if you do that or take these weight loss injectables alongside improving your overall diet, like you would do in any diet or weight loss method, and you combine that with moving more on a day-to-day basis and maybe adding some regular exercise, are they really going to help you reduce your body fat? Absolutely they are. And that is proven. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out there. They wouldn't be sold. But to be honest with you, that's the same with any weight loss method. If you stick to the Slimming World plan consistently, bang on it for 6 months, you're going to lose body fat. Same with the ketogenic diet, same with the Cambridge plan, same with doing intermittent fasting, same if you came on board and worked with me as your one-to-one weight loss coach and stuck to my plan, you are going to consistently lose weight. So it's just another standard weight loss method. It's just maybe a slightly different approach to it. Okay, so I can afford it, Neil, so I'm going to go for it. And I'm willing to improve my diet alongside these weight loss injectables. I'm willing to improve the amount I move on a day-to-day basis. And I'm also going to start doing a couple of bits of regular exercise a week. So let's go for it. Okay, things that we need to understand about these weight loss injectables is the side effects. These jabs are designed to help with diabetes. It's just that subsequently, alongside the fact that it helps reduce blood sugars, it creates this overall appetite suppressant kind of feeling. And it's been deemed that whether you're diabetic or not, whether you have insulin resistant or not everyone that has a weight issue is insulin resistant, by the way. I was 37 stone at the start of my weight loss journey, and I never ever had an issue with my blood sugars. I got tested quite a lot by the doctors, fasted to test me for diabetes because it was something I was always worried about. One of my good friends was a type 1 diabetic, and he used to test my blood sugar. He's like, "Go on, we've had a few pints in the pub, let me test your blood sugar," and see what that. And he was always amazed at where my blood sugars were sitting, even while drinking, even while eating. So yeah, not everyone with a weight issue, and if anyone says everyone that carries excess body fat is insulin resistant, that is just again a load of nonsense that is spouted. But one thing we must understand about these weight loss injectables, well, a couple of things. There is no long-term evidence really to show safety in terms of are there any long-term side effects, and they will only really come about over time. So that's just something we need to be aware of. But I'm not saying you should base your decision on using them or not on whether there's going to be long-term, because there's lots of medications that come out and no one quite knows, because there's only time that can tell, really. And obviously they've been tested rigorously to make sure that they are safe in a way for human consumption. But as anything, there are always going to be side effects. And these are the main side effects. And these are what the clients, a couple of clients that I worked with, when they were taking them, these were very, very common in those clients, because they used to report to me how they were feeling on these medications. And just from doing my own research and again, watching other people on social media, what they've found have been issues, and the main one is nausea. They make you sick. Now, generally what you do with these injectables is you start off at a certain dosage and you ramp that dosage up over days, over weeks, depending on what jab you're taking. Some of them you will take daily, some of them you will take weekly, and you ramp your dosage up. And as your dosage ramps up, the sickness and nausea gets worse, to the point where I had one client that was on 3 milligrams. I think it was a day. I don't think it was a week. I can't quite remember the dosage. But anyway, they were on 3 milligrams. It was either daily or weekly. I can't quite remember. And they were vomiting. They were literally vomiting once or twice a day. Other side effects that are very, very common that a lot of people report is diarrhea, or the opposite, constipation. It just depends who you are. Stomach cramps, heartburn, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. Yeah, you are gonna pretty much suffer as you ramp up the dosage and it gets absorbed into your body. You are gonna pretty much suffer at least one of those things. But the big one is nausea, is the sickness. And like I say, I had one client to the point of vomiting. Just that for me alone is enough for me to go, it's not for me. Because weight loss should always be improving our life. What we are doing, I'm not saying whatever method you use should be easy and plain sailing and you're just smiley and happy and everything's amazing. I'm not saying that. But overall, weight loss should be improving our life. It should make you feel more energized. It should make you feel more confident. It should put a smile on your face. You should be getting compliments from other people, hopefully. And the overall package is you will feel better. If you're taking something on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis, yes, you might be losing body fat, but you constantly feel sick. You constantly feel tired. You constantly feel fatigued. You are struggling to go to the toilet, or the opposite, you have quite severe diarrhea. I'm sorry, for me personally, that is not improving your life. It is gonna make your life worse. Is that the main issue though? Are these side effects the main issue with these weight loss injectables? No. The main issue with them is, if you are going to go on to them, is they are just another fad diet. And this is just my own personal opinion. But this for me is the main issue. Lots of issues, like I said, they cost quite a lot of money. The side effects, which aren't permanent side effects, they're just side effects while this stuff is in your system, isn't great. But the big issue is, it is just another fad diet. And the two clients that I worked with while taking these injections, this was the issue I found. They started relying on, rather than, a successful weight loss journey is built on a lifestyle change. We have to look at what we have done in the past to get us to this point. And then we have got to constantly work at changing that, creating, expelling all the old bad habits and creating the new habits. And this is what a lot of fad diets don't do. So while you stick to the fad diet, you are changing what you've done in the past, but you're not changing it permanently. You are only going to change what you've done in the past while you are sticking to the current plan. And there's only so long you are going to stick to a fad diet. That is why it's called a fad diet. And this is the issue. And it's called, I call it the roller coaster of weight loss, which is what we have to step off if we're going to have a successful weight loss journey. Big difference between successful weight loss and a successful weight loss journey. Stick to any weight loss method for a period of time, you are going to successfully lose weight. Is that going to materialize into a successful weight loss journey? Because a successful weight loss journey is losing your weight, getting to your goal weight, and then maintaining those losses so you don't have a weight issue further down the line in the future. And that, for most people, isn't the case. We stick to Slimming World for 6 months, we lose 3 stone, we stop going to Slimming World, we gain it all back. Not only do we gain it all back, we gain it all back and some. I ask this question all the time on my social media. I've probably asked it on previous podcasts. How many of you listening, stroke watching this now, are heavier now than the first time you dieted? And that is a big knock-on effect of jumping onto these fad diets. So you might do Slimming World for 6 months, lose 3 stone, not do anything for 6 months, gain it all back and a little bit more. You then might jump onto the ketogenic diet because Barbara in the office is doing it and you like the sound of it, and you do that for 3 months and you lose 2 stone, but then you come off it because it's unsustainable. It's a fad after all. And next thing, you're 2.5 stone heavier. Next thing you try is the Cambridge plan. Shake for your breakfast, little bar for your lunch, or vice versa, 400 calorie tea, and you drop 5 stone in 3 months because of how restrictive it is. But boom, suddenly you stop going to the Cambridge plan because it's unsustainable and you gain all that weight back. And I can't see these weight loss injectables being any different. I really, really can't, because if you're just going to a counter and buying them, you are not getting any support whatsoever. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But, you know, you might have a chat with the pharmacist. You might get to go and see your GP once every 4 weeks to discuss them. But that's not proper support. Like I say, to have a successful weight loss journey, we have to change what we've done in the past, not just physically, but also mentally. For me personally, you know, obesity certainly is a mental health disorder. And by jabbing something into your stomach, by going and seeing Doris at Slimming World every Thursday and getting weighed in, by cutting out carbohydrates, that is not going to solve the mental health issue of why you crave food, you use food as a coping mechanism. And these weight loss injectables will just fall into that category. While people take them, they're probably going to lose weight. They could lose a significant amount of weight. But the issue is, how long are you going to take them for? Because there's only so long people are going to be willing to spend 150, 200 pounds a month on them. There's only so long that you're going to be able to handle feeling nauseous every single day, having diarrhea every single day, having severe headaches every single day. Like I say, it's only going to have a short lifespan. And what's going to happen when you stop taking the weight loss injectables? Well, what's going to happen is your appetite or your desire for food is going to return to where it was. So you're going to start overeating again. Or even if you take these for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and you're successfully losing weight, eventually the addiction to food, the emotional eating aspect of food will take over and they'll start being irrelevant. Very, very similar to how people gain weight back when they have a gastric band. They have a gastric band or a sleeve or a bypass, any bariatric surgery. And for 6, 9, 12 months, their appetite is suppressed. Once they fully heal and they get over the initial operation, as it were, and they get used to eating food again, the desire to overeat food, to use food as a coping mechanism, to use food as a distraction, as a distractive mechanism from life, which is what we do, will take over. And then you'll push your body to the limits because you can't fight the want, the need, the addiction. And this is where people then start stretching out their stomachs or start manipulating their eating, because all bariatric surgery does is stop you consuming calories in a short window. It doesn't stop you consuming calories over a larger period of time. So people will just, like I say, manipulate their eating patterns. Rather than having 3 1,000 calorie meals, they might have 3 500 calorie meals, but in between meals, they'll eat things that they find easy to digest, easy to consume, like chocolate and stuff like that. And overall, they're going to start consuming more calories and they'll gain their weight back. I know that sounds like a very negative point of view for me, and I suppose it is, but that's because I've fallen for a lot of fad diets in the past. And this is the pattern. And I see so many people now, as an online coach, as a past personal trainer, I've worked with so many people, and it's what I see. I see this roller coaster of weight loss: lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. And it's because of fad diets. And I sit here now having lost 250 pounds and pretty much maintained that loss for 6 years and counting. And the reason I've done that is I'm not a lucky one, I'm not a lucky person. It's because while losing my weight, I did change my overall lifestyle. While losing my weight, I did work on my mental health. So don't get me wrong, I'm a foodie, I'm a greedy person, I love eating food, and my desire to overeat is still there, but I've learned to control it. I've learned to keep my emotions in check. I've learned not to use food as a coping mechanism. And the initial approach I took in 2014, I've manipulated a bit over the years to improve it because, at the start, not everything is perfect, as it were. But yeah, I've improved, I've changed everything, and I've not gone back into my old habits. And that has allowed me to lose my weight and keep it off. Successful weight loss journey. Initial successful weight loss developed into a successful weight loss journey. And I just don't feel anyone, or not anyone, that's wrong to say. I don't feel the majority of people are going to have that success, or the majority of people aren't going to have long-term weight loss success using fad diets. Will there be a minority? Of course there will. There's always going to be someone out there where any weird and wonderful fad diet, for whatever reason, slots into their lifestyle. It just works for them, and they'll lose the weight and keep it off. And there will be several success stories from, obviously, things like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, keto, intermittent fasting, weight loss injectables, but they will be few and far between. Are there any long-term success stories that I've heard of from taking these weight loss injections like your Saxendas and your Wegovy's and your Ozempics? Yeah, from America. Quite a lot of celebrities that have lost quite a lot of weight in recent years and kept it off have used these weight loss injectables. But in America, healthcare is private. Celebrities tend to have a lot of money. So what they're able to do with these weight loss injectables is have constant support, have constant accountability from someone constantly looking at what they are doing. So they'll probably, even though they are taking these weight loss injectables as a little support tool to help control appetite, alongside that, they're probably working with a nutritionist to make sure that their diet's good. They're probably working with a personal trainer to make sure their movement's good. And they're probably working with a psychologist to improve their overall mental health to what has led them to have a severe weight issue. Most people are going to struggle in the UK. You're not going to get that support from the NHS. You're going to have to pay for it. And most everyday people are not going to have the funds to do that. So to kind of finish on a more positive note, could you have long-term success on these weight loss injectables? Well, yes, you could. And I'm going to tell you how, because I want everyone to have weight loss success. I don't really care what method you use. I want every single person to have long-term weight loss success. Like I say, for me, most people that try doing that using a fad diet are going to fail long before they hit their goal, and they'll never maintain their weight loss afterwards. But if you have successfully lost weight and kept off using Slimming World, great. Absolutely fantastic, honestly, because that is my goal as a weight loss coach. I want everyone to be happier and healthier and be more of a healthy weight. So if you're going to use these weight loss injectables, this is my advice to you. Number one, understand exactly how they work. Do not think they're a miracle cure. Do not think they are a quick fix. You need to go on a normal diet, as we call it, as you would do normally alongside them. They are just an extra little support tool to help control your appetite. One thing I promote to all my clients, to all my social media followers, to you guys listening to the podcast is a high protein and a high fiber diet. And I'll be honest with you, if you put the effort in to have a high protein and high fiber diet, so most of the times that you eat, most main meals, any snacks that you consume, if they're full of protein or full of fiber or a combination of both, that will suppress your appetite as much as taking these injections will. But obviously, it's more effort to plan out having a high protein, high fiber diet than just whacking something into my body every day or every week. But if you're going to go onto these injectables, make sure you understand that they're just a support tool, like a high protein, high fiber diet, and you need to control your calories alongside it. You need to improve your overall diet, improve your health. You need to improve your everyday movement, and I would recommend doing some regular exercise. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you need to learn from what these injectables are teaching you. What they are actually teaching you is the amount of foods you should be eating. So if you normally have this absolute vat of spaghetti bolognese and you polish it off in one go, you then make yourself the same portion of spaghetti bolognese, but because you are on your Ozempics or your Manjaros or whatever you're currently taking, halfway through eating that bowl of spaghetti bolognese, you are full. That is your body telling you you've had enough. So next time you make a portion of spag bol, you don't make a vat of it, you make the portion that you should be having. And you need to remember that. You need to learn that. And whether you're taking these injectables or not, that is the portion you should be having. That's something that calorie counting has taught me. It has taught me this is what you should be eating, Neil. This is what you used to eat, and this is why you were 37 stone. But from having a calorie structure and controlling my calories more, actually, I shouldn't be having 4 pieces of buttered toast, a full tin of beans, 4 fried eggs and 4 rashers of bacon. No, you should be having 2 pieces of toast, 2 eggs, half a tin of beans and 2 rashers of bacon. Same meal, better portion control. So you need to learn from what you're doing. And this is what I try to teach my clients that were on it. Well, I was like, right, what have you had for your tea? What was the volume that, well, I had 3 new potatoes. I had a chicken breast. I ate half my carrots. Right. Well, that is what your body is saying. That's enough for me because I'm full. Now, a lot of people that have weight issues, their leptin, which is the hormone that tells us we are full, doesn't quite work properly or can be non-existent, or we've trained our minds to push past it. But we just need to understand that is what we should have, eat it, and then say you've had enough. So you've got to learn from what you are doing. And number 3, if you are going to go onto these weight loss injectables, just understand this isn't a permanent thing. This isn't a permanent thing. And that kind of relates back to number 2. Don't think I'm just going to take this, it's going to cause my weight loss, and once I get to my goal, I'm sorted. No. You have got to permanently change what you are doing in your life. The method you're using to lose weight is not just to get to your goal. It should be a change for the rest of your life. The only thing that should ever change once you hit your goal is the amount of calories you can consume. And the amount of calories you can consume, you're going to go from being in a calorie deficit to being in a calorie maintenance to maintain your current weight. It isn't that much of an increase. You do not go into too much of a severe calorie deficit. Therefore, when you go into a calorie maintenance, it's not like you're back to eating double the amounts of food you were eating. It's just going to give you a little bit more food freedom. So can people have weight loss success using weight loss injectables? Of course they can. They probably will have weight loss success. Can people have a successful weight loss journey while using weight loss injectables? That is something to be seen. But if you do it in the right way, then there is a chance. I'm not saying it's a big chance, but there is a chance. Okay, that's my view on weight loss injectables. If you are currently taking them and you are struggling, I will work with you. I had someone message me a couple of weeks ago saying I'm starting to take them towards the end of July, beginning of August. Can I work one-to-one with you while I'm taking them? I've also just had, and I've not gone into too many details with this client, but I assume they are on an oral, because they said they're not injectables, they're taking oral appetite suppressants. So I assume it's either Ozempic or Wegovy or a similar brand, but the orals instead of the injectables. And they literally messaged me and they were on plan with me and said, look, the doctor's prescribing these. I want to try them out. Will you still work with me as my coach? Of course I will. Because like I say, my long-term goal is to help you hit a healthy weight and then maintain that weight for the rest of your life. However you do that, I know I have my views on how it should be done. However you do that can be how you choose to do it, but I will always try and help you whichever way I can. So if you're currently on weight loss injectables and you feel like you're struggling, you're not seeing the results, you don't quite understand how things work, you are worried about the long-term success rate of them, then please, I'll put all the details in the description of this podcast and you can get in touch with me and you can still come and work with me and I'll be your one-to-one coach and I'll guide you and help you the best I can alongside taking that support too. Okay, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed technically episode 1 of season 2, but it is episode 35 of the Real Lost Boss podcast. As always, if you give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a follow, tell your friends, tell anyone about it, that would be amazing. And until next time, as always, whatever method you're using, make sure you boss your weight loss.